Real estate isn't hard. You just haven't learned the 6 skills you need to make it easy.
People look at successful real estate investors and think they must be good at everything: construction, finance, partnerships. But real estate's actually a pretty simple business. Find properties, buy them, manage them, and build wealth.
The reason it feels hard is because no one teaches you the skills that you need to make it easy. They'll show you $1 million deals and that Lamborghini lifestyle, but they skip the basics that actually matter. So right now, we're breaking down these 6 skills that make everything fall into place. Learn these and real estate will stop feeling overwhelming and will start feeling achievable.
Dave, what's skill number 1?
The number 1 skill is vision. This is setting where you want to go. I'm not talking about picking strategies like I want to be a flipper or I want to be a buy and hold investor. I'm talking about the big picture stuff of understanding what you want to accomplish as a real estate investor in terms of lifestyle and long-term financial well-being.
Your vision should be about your lifestyle. What do you want your life to look like? Do you want to travel more? Do you want to spend more time with your children? Then you design goals that help you have a real estate business that suits the vision you have for your life.
Just sit down, take 30 minutes or an hour and just daydream. Think a little bit about what you want. For me personally, it was mostly about travel and time freedom and being able to have income coming in, even if I'm working remotely or in another country.
And a lot of the skill is not getting distracted once you have your vision. It's fair for your vision to change if what you want out of life changes, but your vision is your North Star that helps you make decisions in your business that align to where you want your life to be in the future.
If you set a good vision, every other decision in your real estate investing career will become easier, I promise. All right, so Henry, what is number 2?
Number 2 is deal flow. Deal flow is simply a flow of leads into your business so that you can analyze those leads and buy properties. Everyone's deal flow is going to be different. If you're only trying to buy 1 to 2 houses a year, you don't need massive deal flow. If you're trying to buy 2 to 3 deals a month like I am, you obviously need more leads. But every investor needs deals to analyze because buying a deal at the right price point is what allows you to make money. It's what allows you to have a net profit as a flip or to have cash flow as a rental property investor.
And there are so many different ways to build out this skill of deal flow. There are beginner strategies that you can use, like working with an agent and buying MLS deals. I personally mostly rely on networking for my deal flow. Or you can use direct to seller marketing like Henry uses. All of these are skills that you can develop to establish your deal flow.
The best way to figure out how to pick a deal finding strategy is to take an inventory of your resources. And those resources are time and money. No matter which deal finding strategy you use, it's going to cost you time or it will cost you money. A paid resource like direct mail doesn't take me a lot of time. A free resource like networking does take time on the front end to build the relationships necessary to produce leads. So understand how much resource of time or money you have, and then select a strategy that the resources you have will fund appropriately. The real secret with deal finding is every strategy works. So pick the one you can afford and do it until it produces results. Dave, what's number 3?
Number 3 is underwriting. This is where you take all of your inputs, the price you're going to pay, your rent, your expenses, your property management fees, and you do the math and figure out if it's a good deal or not. And the skill here isn't actually calculating the math. You can do that with things like the BiggerPockets calculator. The skill is learning which numbers you're actually supposed to put into that calculator to make sure that the numbers that come out are actually accurate.
You have to have a lot of discipline to trust the numbers that the calculator is saying and make the decision it's telling you to make. So that goes back to having the right inputs. But sometimes we fall in love. We have to put all of that to the side and trust the outputs the calculators are giving us.
I think the best way to get good at this skill is simply practice. Go out there and run 10 deals in your neighborhood today. Do 50 this week. And if you just keep practicing at this, not only will it be easier for you to find the information that you need to put in, you'll actually establish a baseline for what a good deal is in your neighborhood. And then when you analyze your 51st deal and see that it's better than average, you know it's time to pull the trigger.
You can go on Zillow and find homes in the area you want to buy right now. Practice analyzing them so when an opportunity comes up, you'll know exactly what price point you need to buy at in these specific areas.
All right, Henry, what is skill number 4?
Skill number 4 is actually something everybody does, but I don't know that they do it well. Networking. Traditionally, people see networking as going to find people who have value to give you. But I actually think that networking works better when you go out and find ways to give value to other people. When you find ways to add value to people, they naturally want to help you in return. I have gotten way more out of networking by finding ways to help people than by just going and asking people to give me things.
Even if you're a beginner, you have something that you can offer if you go to a real estate meetup, or if you are talking to an agent or a property manager. You might know a contractor who you're friends with. Those are the kinds of contributions that you can make to start building those networks that will ultimately come back around to you. If you start by giving, you will receive in time, usually when you need it most.
And also, don't get intimidated thinking I have to figure out some magic skill set to give to people. Sometimes providing value is simply you making a connection to somebody else in your network that does something someone needs. So next time you're going to a networking event, try this. Instead of looking for somebody to help you, tell yourself you're going to find 3 people who you can help by adding value to them. And I promise you, you'll get way more than you expect to in return. Okay, Dave, number 5, what we got?
Number 5 is negotiating. And I actually think there's 2 skills within negotiating. The first is negotiating with home sellers so that you can buy at a good price. And because we're in a buyer's market, there are more and more opportunities to do that. The second seems intimidating. It's negotiating with contractors, because if you're going to be a value add investor, which is a great way to make money right now, you need to be able to control your costs, and you do that through negotiating.
And when I think of negotiating with sellers, I've actually found that taking a more brutally honest approach to negotiation builds me more trust and helps me get better deals, even if I'm not the best offer on the table. What people truly want is transparency and trust. And if they like you and they trust you, they're more likely to do deals with you. So I'm less guarded in a negotiation with the seller than I am in a negotiation with a contractor, where I probably do the opposite.
For me, the best way to develop the skill of negotiating with contractors is just to comparison shop and understand the scope of what people are charging. Then you actually have information and leverage when you go and have these conversations. I see a lot of people just say, oh, I got this quote, I try and negotiate it down 20%. That might be a good quote already, but you have no frame of reference. So the best way to get good at this, the best way to practice, is just to talk to a lot of contractors up front and get a sense of who's offering fair pricing, what's important to them, and how you can work together to bring down costs.
And remember, every quote you get, whether you go with that contractor or not, is data to help inform you to make better decisions when you get new quotes from other contractors. So don't throw those quotes away. And if you have some, go pull them out of the trash and start analyzing those numbers.
All right, Henry, what is skill number 6?
Skill number 6 is operations. Sometimes people forget that once you actually buy the property, you have to operate the property. And
buying's the fun part.
Buying is the fun part, but operating it efficiently is the part that brings you the cash flow that you're hoping for. So operating your property is a function of 3 things: people, processes, and systems. And a lot of the times when you're starting out, you don't know what those things are. So the best thing I can tell you to do is, as you're operating your property, if you feel like I'm running into a wall or this is taking longer than I should, ask yourself, would a person, a process, or a system help this to be better? And the number 1 skill set you can use to operate better, especially when you're new, is to document all of the steps it's taking you to accomplish a certain task. Because when you want to optimize your business, you will now have at least a list of steps that you can use to help figure out, either I can give this to somebody else so they can do this if I bring in a person, or I can use this document to help eliminate some of those steps if I want to be more efficient when operating.
Because there are a lot of different parts to operating a rental property or any real estate investment, my recommendation is to sit down and figure out which part of your operations is the biggest pain in the butt. Just focus on optimizing one part of your operations at first, whether that's property management, whether it's dealing with contractors, and then focus on what Henry said and build out that process as well as possible. Then move on to the second most annoying thing.
When I'm prioritizing what I need to be more efficient at, I am looking at what are the things that are costing me the most money, and I'm looking at what are the things that I never want to do again. Those are the things I focus on first, because even if it's not costing me money, if I hate it and I don't have to do it again,
100%.
I feel so much better.
So these are the 6 skills every real estate investor needs to master to make real estate easy. We have vision, deal flow, underwriting, networking, negotiating, and operations. And if you're feeling stuck somewhere on your real estate investing journey, it's probably that you haven't mastered one of these 6 skills.
And this is common with any small business. So if you're feeling stuck, go master these 6 skills, and it will unlock your ability to build, grow, and scale your business and help you reach financial freedom sooner.
And remember, don't expect to be good at these things right away. The whole idea is to have that entrepreneurial spirit, to have a little bit of grit, to work on each of these skills continuously. I'm still working on them. Henry's still working on them. But if you have that mindset and keep working on these 6 skills, you can succeed in real estate investing. And if you need more help and resources, make sure to subscribe to the BiggerPockets YouTube page or check out BiggerPockets Pro, which has tons of tools that can help you master these 6 skills.